Welcome to the Growing Up Bananas podcast, where we dissect the perks and tribulations of being bananas.
It's hard being yellow when I feel so white.
My name is Ethan. Sam sits next to me, and in many ways, I sit next to him.
Last episode, we spoke with Donald about his experience on how he made it in Australia. If you already haven't, it's very interesting. Please check it out. Today, Ethan wanted to speak about something very deep, so I thought I'd start with this. I dug, Ethan dug, Alex dug, my dad dug, my brother dug, all of our families dug. It's not a very good poem, but it's very deep.
Yep. You've been telling me for the last 2 weeks that you had something really creative and pointed up your sleeve, and we've just got it. So that's awesome. It. So what have we got in store for today then, Sam?
Today we'll do the classic expectations versus reality of our younger selves and what we envisioned life as an adult as it pertains to culture and race and compare it to how we see it now. Later we'll have an esteemed guest, Mr. Jamie. He's also a friend of the show, to talk about growing up as a half caste. He's half of two different cultures, which he will tell later.
Yeah, really looking forward to that one. It's something a little bit different. And just to get his perspective on everything from someone who's kind of been really torn between the two. It's going to be really, really cool to hear from him.
Spoiler alert, maybe he's not, but maybe he is.
We'll see.
Let's get into it.
So in terms of the expectation versus reality, it's definitely a massive topic that can probably be done over multiple episodes. So today we're just going to really focus on probably our aspirations, so what we thought we wanted to be when we were younger.
Yeah. And
then we'll talk a little bit about, the financial side, not to say how much money we've got or don't have, but more so what we expected from a younger age. So I'm talking very young, just to see how, the Asian background, the Asian upbringing may have impacted those expectations.
How it sort of panned out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, sweet.
I mean, every kid, when they're young, they think they're going to be super rich. That's the expectation. I don't know about you, but I don't know anyone or any children who've said, when I'm older, I'm going to be poor. I'm going to have no money and I'm going to struggle. So I think from the outset, the expectation is always that you're going to be successful. How you do that is obviously another whole story. What were your expectations?
Well, I changed at various times of my life, I guess. I didn't have the classic, I want to be a firefighter or a policeman.
I wanted to be a ringmaster of a circus. I think I said this in a previous podcast.
Yes, you have. And I've also said that I wanted to be an accountant somewhere along the way. That was the first thing I wanted to be, which is super silly.
That was from a family, or was it relative that was an accountant?
Yeah, it was my uncle that was an accountant, and I thought he was the coolest person. I think I went through that. And then in grade, when I started playing footy, I wanted to become a professional football player. And then later on, I wanted to be, I don't know, just happy, I guess. But somewhere in between the former and the latter, I also wanted to be a consultant. That was the dream.
What did you want to consult in?
It didn't really matter.
Just a consultative consultant?
I wanted the title of consultant. What about you? Did you ever want to be a consultant?
Yeah, I did. I still want to be a consultant.
Why don't you become a consultant?
I think I can do that. But taking a step back, looking at the financial side. So Where did you picture yourself? Not to say now, but when you were a kid, I'm talking pre-high school, where you don't really know much about the world. What did you picture yourself as, a massive CEO, or what were the expectations for you back then? And was it around money, or was it more around where you'd be physically?
To be honest, my family was never really focused around money. My family was focused about, mum and dad always led by example, and their example was just to live the best that you can. So that's what it was about. The accountant, the rugby was based on, in hindsight, I have no idea. Looking back now, I'm just an idiot for thinking that I wanted to be an accountant. But
what's wrong with being an accountant?
I don't know if I'm capable of sitting at a desk. I can't even sit straight for this. But
that's true.
You'll see my leg bouncing.
Yeah.
But yeah, the rugby, the happy, I think it was just based on what I really enjoyed doing at the time. It's always good to enjoy what you're doing, and if you can make a living off that, how good is that?
That's it. And probably at that time, your heroes were, this family member that you had and the Wallabies, because they were extremely successful in the 90s.
Actually, at that time, I wasn't actually into rugby union. It was more rugby league.
Okay.
But I didn't play it at that stage.
Yeah.
I think I was more so into the computer game aspect of things more than anything.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
I remember I had this friend in it might have even been early high school or late primary school when we first came to Australia, and I found out how much money people who work at the mines make.
Yeah.
And we still had this pact. We were going to work in the mines for 5 years for 200 grand every year, and we were going to be millionaires and retire.
Oh, no doubt.
Yeah, that obviously did not eventuate. Younger Ethan didn't factor in tax and just general spending. Yes, which is quite funny because as kids, you picture yourself in a certain situation. You think that it's about the money and it's all just about retiring and whatever it is, and you probably take your eye off the journey. That's going to get you there.
When you said the word pact, it actually triggered a little memory. I remember Justin, who's a dear friend of mine.
Justin Bieber, friend of the show.
Isn't he coming on soon?
We've requested.
Okay, yeah. So Justin, I remember him. I think we were in our early teens at that stage, and we were over just swimming at night. So we had a pool at home, and we actually made a pact as well that we were both going to become game developers as well for Blizzard.
You must have been pretty old at this stage.
No, we're in our teens. We were playing Diablo back in the day.
So game designs for Blizzard.
Yeah, so I was at least 10 years old. It's probably maybe 12, 13, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing how the aspirations are. I don't want to say they wind back or they get more realistic, but they do over time because some things are just not feasible.
Yeah, some things are not feasible. Sometimes you grow out of things, but I don't know. They're all exciting in their own right.
Yeah, like for me, like wanting to be a ringmaster, I love the circus. Didn't realize it's one of the hardest slugs around.
Yeah.
Other than being in the WWE, I still reckon I can do that. Just gonna hit the gym a bit more. That was also another dream of mine, was to be in the WWE.
Yes.
Huge fan. Triple H, Undertaker.
Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yeah, either of them.
The Rock.
I think most guys our age were fortunate enough to live through the golden age of wrestling. So talk to anyone about what they wanted to be. They either wanted to be a professional athlete or a wrestler.
That's kind of the dream.
In terms of passions then, so for me, I always pictured myself as a professional athlete. Don't know what sport, cricket or, anything else, but it was probably mainly cricket that I always just pictured myself being at that top level. Unfortunately, I didn't have what it took, and it's never happened. I'm still hanging on to the slimmer hope that I can get an IPL contract soon.
You were close to making it in a sport, were you not?
Not really. I mean, it's not a professional sport, but yeah, I played a little bit of hockey when I was younger, but that was more of a hobby than anything because at the time there wasn't really much professionalism to it at the top level. We still want to be NBA players, don't we?
Yeah, look.
Waiting for that 10-day call up.
10-day out.
Sacramento Kings might give us a buzz. You're looking for a power forward.
Oh, I hear Luka Doncic is looking for a second man. I'm ready to step up if that.
What, Russell Westbrook to the Mavs apparently. Once he gets bought out.
Nah.
Who knows? But yeah, I think most kids, they want to be professional athletes. They don't understand how bloody hard it is and how few and far between those who actually succeed are. And probably not just a little sacrifice that it actually takes to get to that level. When you're young, you think you can do it, but I know a lot of people that have made it to that level, and geez, you take so much respect to them. Take your hats off to what they've had to go through to get there. I mean, you spoke about wanting to be a professional rugby player. Did you ever think about the hours in the gym, the concussions, and all that come with getting to that level?
Look, I think that dropped off when I stopped playing rugby in grade 12. I guess the one that really woke me up was one time when I was at uni. I saw James Horwell walk into the library, and I was like, holy shit, he's a big boy.
Yeah, that's the competition.
That's the competition. So I guess we just talked about some of our ambitions. What's your goal now? What do you aspire to now? How has it changed from when it was back then?
Yeah, definitely the emphasis on your internals and not so much, what do I have, what can I buy, all those things. I think when you're young, that's what you focus on. You think that's what means success, and that probably goes back to my parents, because you said before your parents were never really that materialistic. Mine neither, and that's one of the few lessons that I struggled to grapple with when I was growing up.
Yeah.
Out of uni and all that, you think you're chasing all these dollars and that's what's going to make you happy at the end of the day, but the sooner you learn that it's not, and the sooner you realize that it's the things that actually matter, it's family and relationships. Well, that's what matters to me. I can't speak to other people what gets them going.
Yeah, because you and I, we both, like, we've obviously we said we've known each other for 10 years, and we know a lot of people who are very wealthy around us, and I think we both went through the stage where we were a little bit, what's the word? Not caught in, but sort of enclamored. What's that word?
Yeah, you
for lack of a better word, absorbed by that sort of culture, and we used to spend a little bit of dough on flashy things, but I think I think most people do. We go past that.
Yeah, and it's not to say that that's not important, and it's not something you need to strive for. But for us, or for me anyway, I've gotten to that point now where that's not important for me anymore.
Yeah, I don't care what's in my bank. I think my goal is when I can go to Woolies and just buy whatever I want without having to worry. I think that's the end goal for me.
Woolies, you should be able to buy pretty much everything, except for lettuce right now.
Oh, look, I still stick to the yellow tags.
Yeah, the quick sales.
Quick sales one day.
But yeah, just to guys wrap that up before we have Jamie on, it probably goes back to our upbringing, and if we were in different circumstances, not to say it's for being Asian at all, it's just putting emphasis on certain things, which at the end of the day means success. And we ask our guests every time, are you happy? Do you feel successful? And some of them will talk about the money side, some will talk about their jobs and things like that, and you'll have others who are just content having a good family and having that stability and support around them, which is everyone's motivated by different things.
Sweet.
Let's do it. Let's get Jamie on. Jamie Oliver coming up next.
A big welcome to one of my oldest, dearest and wisest friends, Jamie. It's a pleasure to have you here. Thanks for taking the time to come and be with us. What's up?
I don't know. The pleasure's all mine. Thanks for having me. It's I guess when you told me you guys were doing this, I thought it was a pretty interesting idea, and yeah, happy to be on. Happy to help you guys out.
Yeah, thanks for the time, man.
Yeah. I've known you since year 2. You always tell me. Was it Mrs. Mondolfi's class?
I think so.
Good times.
Yeah.
So I've known Jamie for more than
that would
2/3
be
of my life.
Yeah, that would be what, since we were 7?
7 years
around
old.
then. Yeah,
Like 40 years ago then.
40.
Oh, 40 years ago. I am getting a lot of greys now.
So for the audience, where was this? This is on the Gold Coast.
Yeah.
Nice.
Gold Coast.
Went to St. Vincent's.
Yeah, that's right.
And
repping.
had some really good looking teachers.
Oh my.
In year 2.
No. Nah. Sam's biggest crush in primary school was a grade 5 teacher.
Still is, funny
Got
enough.
Miss Brown.
Oh, wasn't that all of us?
I think so.
So we've had Jamie on. For those that aren't quite sure, he looks very ridiculously handsome. It's part of being a half caste, half Asian, half white. Tell us a little bit about that, Jamie.
You're too kind. No, so I guess I'll start with my heritage. So, my mum's Australian, so she's white. My dad's Chinese Malaysian. They would have met 35 years ago or something. So
Yeah.
just through mutual friends, and here I am.
Your dad, so he's Chinese Malaysian. How did he end up here? Was he born in Australia? Or?
No, so he was born in Malaysia.
Yeah.
So he's one of his only, he's pretty much one of, I think, 3 or 4 sort of brothers, sisters. And he was the only one that made the trip over to Australia. So, yeah, he's been here ever since.
Yeah, nice.
I think he took one for the team and sort of just came over and left everyone and just tried to build a future here. So, yeah.
Have you spoken to him much about, I suppose, the journey and the cultural assimilation that he had to make?
To be honest, not really.
Yeah.
Probably not as much as I should have. I definitely know more about my white side than my Chinese side. So, look, it's something I definitely want to probably get into with my dad and have a conversation with him and those sorts of things to really understand, because to date I don't know much other than, you know, what my dad's done for us. So, yeah.
So one of the reasons why I was really excited to have you on was because I've always thought of you as being a little bit more white, and I think the reason for that is because when we were younger, we always used to be, when we hang out, your mum was always there, and she was obviously a mad dog. So I'm excited to have this talk because we haven't really had this discussion before, aside from, you know, a very quick overview of when we started talking about the pod.
Yeah.
I guess the first thing that I wanted to ask was, in terms of your upbringing, I think I was there for a bit of it, at least during primary school and then, you know, after school. But what were...
That's all right.
How was it?
My upbringing and childhood?
Yeah, upbringing, childhood.
Yeah.
Like,
I had a great childhood. And my mum was a stay-at-home mum. So my dad was always, you know, working, putting in the hours. He worked at a Chinese restaurant.
good stuff.
Yep.
The best.
Love
It's the baptism of fire that every person, not even just Asian, every person should do a year or two there.
Yeah.
You learn really quickly.
But yeah, no, he moved over here. He worked at a Chinese restaurant, then eventually bought his own restaurant.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, he was working there, you know, pretty much non-stop. You barely have a day off in a year. So, you know, I guess my days were full of, you know, my mum. So she basically raised my sister and I. And I barely got to see my dad because by the time, say, I woke up, he was sleeping because he gets home so late at night. You know, it's like ships passing in the night. So, you know, I never really got to see him too much, but I, you know, always knew he was putting in the effort to like provide and stuff for the family. So super grateful for that.
It's so tough.
Oh yeah. And, you know, I'm super grateful for mum as well for, you know, always being there for us. And, you know, she never missed a school event, never missed, you know, trying to teach me how to do maths.
It's paid off.
So yeah. So
and that work ethic, I mean, I don't want to say it's an Asian thing, but you would have seen it in the background, and it must have rubbed off on you and taught you a lot of...
Like to think so. I probably got less of a work ethic than my dad has, but it definitely opens your eyes to, you know, you can see how much work both mum and dad are putting in. And yeah, it's, as I said before, I'm super grateful, and hopefully some of that was distilled into me and in my life. So yeah.
Okay. So a couple of weeks ago we talked about one of the boys at Emmanuel and how he's recently had a kid, and his son had not been to the beach before. That's growing up.
Was this our conversation?
No, this is.
I was going to say I don't remember this conversation.
We had the conversation.
Yeah. Okay.
So I guess what I was going to ask you was, obviously your mum's Australian. What did you do when you were growing up? Did you have were you You mentioned athletics carnivals. Did you do sports?
Yeah,
Did
yeah.
you
So
do extracurriculars?
yeah, my mum definitely made us try a lot of different things. So played. I think I started playing out playing soccer. So soccer was probably the first one, and then probably swimming was another prominent sport I did growing up.
You were a dolphin.
Horrible sport, by the way.
You don't like swimming?
Oh, the training is it's super
yeah.
new every day,
Yeah,
mornings. You know,
It was pretty much,
I respect the swimmers.
five times a week growing up. But yeah, swimming was the prominent one. And to be honest, I only learnt how to swim because I almost drowned once in the canal on the Gold Coast. So my story is I was chasing a butterfly, and no, sorry, mine was I threw a rock into the canal and I was trying to get it back.
Yeah.
But mum's story is I was chasing a butterfly or something. So I'm not sure which one's true, but
We'll go with the butterfly.
yeah.
Yeah.
The butterfly sounds a bit, better. I'm not just some silly kid throwing a rock in the canal.
Beautiful story.
Yeah. But yeah, mum had to jump in and pull me out. So from that day on, she's like, I'm enrolling you into swimming classes.
Did you know you were the only reason I enjoyed swimming when I was younger? I used to hate it. And then
Really?
Jamie was like, "Oh, I swim as well." I was like, "Okay, I think I like it."
Yeah. Come on.
And then
You're a good swimmer too.
nah, I was the rock that you
That's
were
where you get
chasing. I
the-
just drowned. You're trying to help me out.
It's where the wide shoulders have come from. Years of swimming.
Petite.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
petite, bro.
That's what it is. So mate, I guess looking back then at the childhood, did the penny ever drop that, you had an Asian father and a white mother? Or was that just something you always just knew and took it as gospel?
Yeah, I definitely... I don't know if there was a defining moment where I started thinking about it, but definitely as probably early years of primary school, so maybe 7 to 8 or something, really started realising that I wasn't like the majority.
Yep.
So I think, our primary school, there wasn't that much diversity in Asians there.
No, I mentioned before that
There's
most of the overseas people, when you think about it, we were friends with.
correct, yeah.
None of them were
immigrants.
Australian. They were mostly immigrants
Yeah.
or migrant.
Yeah, no,
parents.
that's very, very true, I think. So I think around that time I started thinking, I'm not like everyone else. I don't have 2 white parents. I've got one white parent, one, Chinese parent. And it was a little different for me. So I don't think there was a defining moment, but definitely started realising it growing up.
Yeah.
There's probably moments when I was younger, in maybe grade 2, 3. I think I've mentioned this to you, Sam, but there was a kid in primary school that used to say to me, because my last name's Wong,
Yeah.
so you can't get around that.
So you don't look like a Wong.
Yeah,
So
I don't look like a Wong, but they used to grab that last name and say like Wing Wong Ching Chong Ding Dong and
Okay.
things like that. So I copped that a little bit, but not too much. Like I feel like because I was half, I could sort of blend. I could sort of mold myself either way,
yeah, bit of
or
a
like
chameleon.
pick and choose.
Yeah.
So I had that sort of benefit, but yeah, I guess that was sort of my early primary school life when I started to realise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not so much on the, the teasing side of things, but was there ever a stigma around, family? So your mum's, the white side, was there ever a stigma that, it wasn't what you call the normal family or the majority? Did you ever feel that?
I to be honest, I don't think I ever felt that.
Yeah.
Especially within my family. Like I feel like everyone in my family is pretty open and honest and supporting of each other. So I don't feel like I felt any stigma within the family
Yeah.
at all. Even grandparents and stuff. They loved my dad and sorry, grandparents on my mum's side. They loved my dad, and so it was all a pretty happy childhood, I would say.
I guess I guess that's really cool. Had the privilege of meeting a lot of family, and they're all really cool. Nan, Poppy.
Yeah.
I'd love to speak to them and know, like, this is a long time ago. You're talking, 30, 40 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
If there was any stigma from them before
Maybe let's drop the 40 years down.
50. However, different time back then. So
Yeah.
what they would have thought, obviously they love your dad and all that.
Yeah.
But before that, if there was a thought given, who knows?
Yeah, potentially. I mean, when I think about my grandparents, so my granddad was a diplomat back in the day, so he used to travel a lot around the world, and my granddad, grandma, and even my mum and my uncle, so they were brought up sometimes living overseas. So they lived in Korea for a bit, South Korea for a bit, or potentially Japan. It's one or the other.
Just on a side note, Nan might be the oldest white person I know that likes kimchi. Like the first white person that was like,
so
I
must
love
have
kimchi.
been Korea then. That's cool.
Yeah, so one day, so Sam's mum made kimchi and she gave it to us to take home. So we're going to give it to my nan. But then my dad gets home from the restaurant one night and just ate all the kimchi. So we couldn't actually pass it on to my grandma.
And there's been like a 20-year thing where I'm just like not taking kimchi back again. Biggest dog.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they traveled, well traveled.
Yeah.
Not appreciative, but they've seen different cultures, so they.
Yeah. So I feel like that helps.
Yeah, I'd say so for sure.
Yeah.
So we grew up in, I guess, with the same parents. So I both have Korean parents. Ethan's parents are both South African Chinese. But so it was, for us, it was just competing with two different cultures, like one inside the house and one outside the house. For you got extra difficulty. You got side quests added. You've got half Australian culture, half Chinese culture within the same house, within the same household. So you've got two things sort of tugging at you. Was mum and dad relatively streamlined, or were they a little bit different in some of the things that they wanted done with you?
I would say pretty streamlined, but in saying that, I feel like mum had most of the control of like the path that I led.
Yeah.
So given I saw her all the time and she was raising us basically, I think she had most of the control as to where I was going, what foods I ate, what I was watching on TV, those sorts of things. So probably didn't get as much, I guess, Chinese culture imparted into me. I'm probably one of the most, what's the word? I actually can't think of the word.
Blank canvas.
I guess. That's not what I was going for, but it'll come to me. But, yeah.
Is there any Chinese traditions or customs that did get passed on through your dad? Any ones that you can remember? Like, do you guys celebrate Lunar?
Look, I'll
PC,
always
Lunar New Year.
Yeah,
PC,
yeah. So like Chinese New Year, I'll tend to ring up Dad or send him a message and say, Gong Hei Fa Chui, which is
get rich.
Yeah, and die trying. No.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically good fortune. So
yep.
I'll do those sorts of things. Beyond that, not too much. I'm probably actually I figured out what I was going to say before. I'm probably the most uncultured Chinese person. So yeah, in terms of the culture, I'm definitely missing a big chunk of it. Yeah, you
could probably sit at the table with my brothers then, and myself. I'd be somewhere there. So,
Yeah.
Which is a real shame because there's so much
Yeah.
there's so much history there, and it is our our ancestry,
Yeah.
our identity in some way. So,
and I wish, and I know Dad was always working in a restaurant, but I wish I learnt some Cantonese. Or my dad speaks multiple languages, but Cantonese being probably one of the bigger ones or more well known ones. But
that was going to be my next question. So language, you grew up just speaking English?
Yeah, pure English. So don't except for a few little phrases here and there, don't know anything.
So what are your intentions behind that? Why do you feel like you wish you'd learnt that?
I just feel like it would be a cool skill to know.
Is it for career or for chicks or guys?
It's always for chicks.
I was going to say guys.
Yeah, work on me.
I think a bit of everything. You know, I guess it opens up a lot of the world if you know another language, which I don't.
And culture-wise, do you wish you'd absorbed more culture when you were younger, or are you pretty content with? Of course, you're content, but do you wish you'd absorbed more of that culture, not just language?
Yeah, definitely. Like in terms of my relationships with even my dad's side of the family, a lot of them don't speak English. I have a cousin that's actually living on the Gold Coast at the moment, so that's really good. But the rest of his side of the family, I can't really speak to because I don't know the language. So it's just communicating via hand gestures.
Google Translate,
which isn't very reliable sometimes.
So on that then, have you gone and visited the family?
Not for a long time. So my granddad on my dad's side, I last saw him at my wedding. So he made the trip. This was start of 2019. So
it was a New Year's Eve wedding or New Year's Day wedding, or
that's when
you left on New Year's Eve.
It was 7th of January 2019.
Okay.
So I do know the date. It's in here.
He checked, didn't he? He checked.
The phone's by his lap there.
Yeah. But yeah, that was the first time I'd seen him in probably 20 years, maybe.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, a long time. I haven't been to Malaysia in a very, very long time. Can't even remember the last time. It would have been about 20 years ago.
Yeah, it's a really interesting experience because I've got family still in China, on my mum's side. I hadn't met them ever.
Yeah.
They're a couple of years older than me, and I couldn't speak a single word other than like say a couple of phrases.
Yeah.
And it was such a surreal, strange experience to meet them for the first time a couple of years ago. Couldn't communicate, a lot of smiles, like say hand gestures.
Yeah.
And probably a similar experience to what you had, where you don't know these people, they're family.
Yeah.
And you always, you feel at home because they're family. But
yeah.
that's still, it's weird.
Yeah.
It
is weird.
There's no other word to describe it. It's poor.
But
English,
you get everyone around a table at Yumcha. It's perfect.
Oh yeah.
I guess in terms of, we know your family a little bit. In terms of your friends, there's people that obviously you feel more comfortable with. For me, at the moment, we've spoken about this, and Ethan and I get along with pretty much anyone. We're sort of chameleons. I know some of your closest friends. Do you feel like you can get along easily with people that are mixed, white, Asian, different colors, or is it all the same to you?
I'm pretty sure it's all the same to me. Like, I've got massive diversity in my friendship group, which is great. Got some halfies there as friends. Got a lot of Asian friends. Got heaps of white friends. So like in terms of seeing them any differently, I don't think so. I don't think I get along better with any sort of group of people. I think it's all pretty similar. I wouldn't say
that's really
pick and choose.
That's good to hear.
It is because very conversely to us, it's we definitely feel at home with certain type of people. I guess that's why we started the podcast, wasn't it? Because we had these chats and we're getting pulled from one side. We grew up in a Western-ish family, but then we're Asian, so we're never going to be one or the other.
Is there usually something that draws you guys together? Do you have something all in common, or is it just?
I'd say most of my friends are pretty nerdy and geeky, so maybe that's the thing.
You fit the mold.
Except for a couple of people.
And you guys have been friends for 25 years, so
it
makes sense.
46, I think.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Sam got me hooked on Diablo 2, so.
I'm gonna say, actually, I think the first console that I played was with Daniel, It was Tekken on PlayStation.
Oh, yeah.
And mum and dad wouldn't let me play it because it was M-rated. Then when we went to JB's house, he had like the 64. We were playing.
Yeah, 64 is my big god.
A lot of the gravy games. Mario. What were they?
Yeah, Mario Party.
Mario Party. That was so much fun. We used to just play that all the time, and every time I went to JB's, we'd be like, yes, games.
Yeah.
But,
well, funnily enough, my mum never let me watch The Simpsons growing up, of all things.
If you rewatch it now, I can kind of see it.
You understand it, right?
It's good because it's the adult humor mixed in there with some nice, cartoons and things.
Well, I didn't get to watch Pokemon. Mum didn't let me watch TV on weekdays, so while you guys are watching Pokemon,
but you devoured the video games.
Oh, 100%. was making up for lost time.
Was the ban on Pokemon because it was like monsters and magic, or just because it was TV during the week?
TV during the week.
Ours was because it was monsters, and like Harry Potter wasn't a very popular series in our house from my parents, but we all loved it anyway.
I remember sitting in front of the TV before school started watching Cheese TV.
Dragon Ball Z,
watching Goku power up for 3 days straight.
Yeah, I know.
Loved it.
I guess I didn't have to watch the 3 days of powering up, so that's a big plus.
And Beyblades.
I love Beyblades.
Anyway,
that's
a bit of nostalgia.
So the way that I see things with you, Jamie, there's two different versions of you. For me, the first one is pre-traveling, and there's post-traveling as well. Speaking of that, a lot of envy today, but one of the reasons that I really wanted to go traveling, one of the big reasons is because when you came back from your travels, like you came back a different person.
Yeah?
Yeah, because during that time, I didn't see you as much as I...
Yeah, that's true. That was like, yeah.
So during that time, it might have just been the time that elapsed, but I think it was the travel. When you came back, I was just like, holy, other words. And then he's changed a lot. What did you pick up during that time?
I guess before, what made you want to go on this expedition?
That's a good question.
Yeah, I guess I'd been on, I grew up on the Gold Coast, raised on the Gold Coast, been there for,
46 years.
Yeah, it's probably around that. 20 to 25 years. And then I feel like on the Gold Coast, nothing ever changes.
Yeah.
It's just same thing day in, day out.
Yeah.
So I just wanted something different. And I probably got hooked on YouTube videos, watching people travel and stuff. And I just wanted to do it. Wanted to see the world a bit.
Yeah.
Experience different cultures. That's probably most of the reason why I wanted to try that. And in terms of career, like I'd worked for a few years as well after uni, so I'd built up a bit of money to actually be able to do that.
Yeah.
And I just quit my job, went traveling for close to 6 months.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so went to Europe and Southeast Asia, and loved it. Like loved every minute of it. But yeah, in terms of the reasons why I went, it's probably that. Just I wanted to experience different things and maybe get to know myself a bit better as well.
Yeah.
Or put myself in a situation that would force me to say meet other people and those sorts of things. So yeah.
Yeah, nice, man. Any highlights that you can remember sort of top of the head?
Heaps of them. Top of the head. In terms of places to go, like in terms of places, I loved Iceland is probably up there.
Yeah.
So I went there solo. I hired a car and drove around Iceland for 7 or 8 days, and nice. I loved it. I was by myself, so I was in solitude, but I felt like I could just explore and see what I wanted to. So I love that experience. Also loved Hungary. Hungary was great, and Budapest is an amazing city.
Yeah,
it's Budapest, everyone, not Budapest.
Yeah.
He's been there, so he knows.
No, not at all.
Everyone says pest, and I learnt over there, funnily enough, that it's pest.
Yeah, culture, bitches.
And Buda's on one side of the river, and pest is on the other. So yeah, there you go. Bit of
facts for you.
Bit of facts. But yeah, Budapest was awesome. Just a beautiful city. The Scotland, especially at Edinburgh, was amazing.
But so many good things about that place.
Yeah, it's super picturesque. And then the other one was Vietnam. Loved Vietnam. I feel like I met a good bunch of people traveling there as well, and we sort of met down south in Ho Chi Minh, and then sort of travelled up north over the span of 2 weeks, and that was awesome.
And you did this all by yourself?
All by my. It was basically a solo trip. There were phases where I sort of caught up with friends I knew, like our mutual friend, who's also called Jamie.
We also went to school with him in primary school.
Yeah, so I caught up with him in where was it? Italy. We also went to Morocco together, so I did touch the top of Africa as well. So
how many countries did you hit on this trip?
I have counted before. I think it was high 20s, maybe.
Yeah.
I think. Well, that could be total over my lifetime, but yeah, it was quite a few.
Yeah, cool.
I guess it's a time that you get to spend away, which is really cool.
Yeah.
In terms of culture, like what I hear people drop that word all the time. I want to experience this culture. I want to experience that culture. What do you mean by experience culture?
I guess it's...
Or what was it to you?
For me, it was just walking around random streets in different places and seeing what everyone else, the people that actually live there do. So, whether it's going to, say, Japan and just getting lost in random little streets, and you might see a little ramen shop that no one ever goes to, but it's there, and the locals go there.
Yeah.
It's more, I guess, experiencing that. Not that I probably liaised with a lot of locals at the time, because given when you're backpacking, you stay in a hostel and you meet all other people that are backpacking. But for me, it was probably just more about going for the Instagram shots. No.
That's why 90% of the people do travel. So let's be honest ourselves.
Extremely good photographer, by the way. If you see,
I need to follow him.
I haven't touched photography in a long time.
Not in a while, yeah.
I pretty much only do it when traveling.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah.
So you got heaps out of that. You got to experience all the cultures, grown as a person, and all that. And I guess when you came back, the perspective had that changed.
I think
in terms of career, probably getting out of the rat race and all that, changing it up, as you said, the reason why you wanted to go.
Yeah,
you got what you want out of it.
Yeah, I think so. I think it. Everyone talks about the travel bug, and I feel like I eased that travel bug for a while.
Yeah,
I haven't been. I mean, I've been on a few trips with my wife here and there since then, but haven't done as much traveling for sure. And now that we have a kid, it's super hard. But yeah, that travel bug, I think I suppressed that enough to maybe work on a bit of career stuff and then family things as well. So
yeah,
and then I guess the next big traveling will be when I'm retired.
What was I guess before we move on to career or whatever we move on to, what was the biggest takeaway from your travels? How did your perspective on life or whatever change?
Good question. I definitely became more comfortable with myself and doing things for myself. A lot of people say that they can't go traveling by themselves, or they wouldn't want to sit in a restaurant by themselves and have dinner. But I definitely became comfortable with that. And even to this day, I'd go see a movie by myself.
Yeah.
Not done that to this day.
Really?
Yeah.
And I've done it.
I've done it a few
It's
times.
good.
It's not the worst.
Love it.
I don't mind doing things by myself, but a movie, I just can't justify it.
Really?
Nah.
But then you don't get someone going, hey, who's that character? Or...
You just get in and out.
Look, that's usually me asking, so...
yeah, okay. That's why I never go to the movie with you.
Oh.
No.
That's not the first time I've heard that. That's cool.
Yeah, no, that's a good question about what was the key thing that he's taken out of it.
Yeah, it's definitely an internal sense of being able or being comfortable with yourself probably is the big one.
And comfortable in what? So one thing that Ethan and I were sort of critical about when we listened back is we didn't press enough in our opinions. So like when you say comfortable with yourself, in what aspects do you mean?
Is it comfortable with your own time, not having to have people around?
Yeah, like I guess I'm a bit more introverted, so it probably helps in that sense. But I guess there's no pressure, right? So there's no pressure to be someone you're not. There's no pressure to try and, act a certain way. It's just, you're with yourself. You're doing things you want to do. And yeah, that's probably why I enjoyed it so much.
Yeah.
I guess.
And that's not to say I met a whole bunch of awesome people as well while traveling. And because it was it was quite a long time ago, those relationships always fizzle out because you meet someone at peak adventure,
Yep.
and then you never get to see them again because they're elsewhere in the world. So all of those sort of fizzle out, except for maybe one or two. But yeah, I don't know what else to say for that one.
That's okay.
Yeah,
Probably my last thing on the travel then is when you've told your friends and your family, I'm quitting my job and taking 6 months off. Was there any backlash from that? I'm sure most of it was positive, but
yeah, like definitely. I think my dad had a harder time understanding.
yeah.
Mum was all for it. She loved the idea. That's not to say she wasn't sad when I was leaving. She bloody cried her eyes out.
Yeah.
But yeah, my dad, I think struggled to understand, but he was fine with it. I'm not sure if that's an Asian father thing. I'm not sure like if you had a stricter mum or a stricter dad, but I always wonder if the roles were reversed and I had an Asian mum and a white dad,
Yep.
if it would have been different. And I feel like it definitely would have been. But yeah.
I think any Asian mum does not want their...
Yeah,
they never want their
yeah,
kids
right?
to go anywhere.
Look, when
That's probably the more pressing issue.
if I wasn't going without a job, my mum and dad would be like, "What are you doing?" So,
But you'd still do it anyway, right?
Oh yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But I think when they come around to it, they become really supportive as well. So like
Yeah.
initially, mum and dad were like, "What? What are you going to do with all these things? Like, what about your career?" And then afterwards, it's like, "Yeah, I think you need to do it."
Yeah.
There's always things that we wish we could have done in hindsight. When you were traveling, are there things that you wish you had done differently? Whether it be spending more time somewhere, spending more time doing other stuff.
It all sort of worked out, not the way I envisaged or the way I wanted, but it just worked out. I don't think I would change anything because, people I met were awesome. People I traveled with and the cultures I guess I experienced. I think they were all, they all lived up to expectation or what I wanted to get out of the trip, I guess. But yeah.
Well, that's our topic for today, actually, when we're speaking about expectations versus reality. What were your expectations when you went traveling, before you went, and how did it end up turning? Or how did it end up being?
Yeah, I guess my expectations before going, I don't know if I knew what to expect.
Yeah.
But all I knew is I saw all of these amazing places to go to that, as I said before, watch YouTube that many times and watch that many YouTube videos of people traveling, that I was like, damn, that looks awesome. I want to go there. So, I guess that was sort of setting somewhat of an expectation of what I wanted to do, and that was more, I guess, seeing the nature side of the places I wanted to go to. But in terms of when I got there and started doing that, I loved it, and I didn't necessarily see the same things I saw in those YouTube videos. I just sort of got lost and did what I wanted, and I love that sort of side of it too. And then when I got back, if I were to reflect on my trip, Yeah, I don't think I would change it too much, if at all.
Yeah.
You know, there might have been places I wanted to sort of stop on the way, or timing didn't quite work out, or whatnot. But yeah,
when you go on a trip for that long, there's going to be some hits and misses.
yeah, you almost plan a couple days ahead,
Yeah.
at max, and then you just go for it. Actually, one thing I would change is not getting tonsillitis on my trip. I would change that.
Rough. Where did you?
That was
get
in
tonsillitis?
that was in Hungary. So,
And you still loved it, so it must have been good.
yeah. But I remember not being able to really eat.
No.
My throat was so sore. I could barely swallow water.
Oh man.
Couldn't eat. So I'm like, I need to get this checked out. Went to some private hospital, and they said, yeah, we need to put you on an IV overnight. So I spent a night in hospital, pumping with some good antibiotics, and I was fixed up the next day.
So just to summarize, in terms of the experiences, they weren't as good as you'd imagined, but you picked up, in terms of like the lessons that you learned, the experiences you went through, they were, I guess, priceless.
Yeah, definitely priceless. In terms of as good as I imagine, I tried not to do too much imagining, even though I watched all those YouTube videos. But I feel like it was on par with what I wanted, and I was just really happy with the trip as overall.
Full of envy still.
Well,
Hey mate, that's
you'll be
you
there
soon.
soon. Right?
That's you soon.
No, but not now. I don't know, something could happen.
Don't say that.
Okay.
Do you want something to happen?
Look, we'll see.
So man, that obviously had a huge impact on everything moving forwards. I guess now to where you are today, I met you at Sam's housewarming and all that. So happily married, got a lovely son.
Yep.
Your wife, what's her background?
So she's Sri Lankan. So she has a Sri Lankan background. So she was born over in Colombo. I think moved to New Zealand when she was about 4. Spent a year or two there, and then moved to Australia. So she's been
basically
here.
Australian.
Yeah, definitely. So she's been here ever since, and So
Well,
in terms of my son, he's a real weird mix.
Yeah, because you're half.
Diluted the
she's-
bloodline.
Uh-huh.
I said you've diluted even more. The
Yeah. So he's half Sri Lankan, quarter white, quarter Chinese.
He's
mix.
Malaysian.
Good looking boy.
Yeah.
Good looking boy.
And you growing up, did you ever? Again, we're covering this topic between Sam and I about what we expectations. For me, I always pictured myself with a white woman when I was younger, just because that's what I was surrounded by in South Africa.
Yeah.
For you, was there any thought given to that when you were young? Did you think, when I'm older, I'm going to marry someone like my mom, I want to marry a white woman? Or
I feel like, I feel like when I was growing up, and same deal, right? I think I mentioned earlier that our schools were not that diverse.
Yeah.
So you're surrounded by white people, and I felt like that's probably the path I would take for sure. I'd end up with a white wife, or I feel like that was the path I was going, but it didn't turn out that way. Yeah.
And then where did you guys meet? Did you guys meet in?
So we met through a good mate of mine. So they studied at uni together. So we met, mutually through sort of, I guess, their parties and stuff. So
Nice.
yeah. And we'd been friends for a long time before we actually started dating. So don't think that happens too much these days, but yeah.
No, I wouldn't say so.
Yeah. That's sort of how we happened.
When you went to uni, right? I went to one or two of those things, the parties that you went to. It became a lot more multicultural there, right?
Oh yeah.
Did that change your perspective at all? Did you go from being maybe from white to, was it still, I think I like it this way, or did you go, maybe I'm open to going other ways?
It was probably was around then.
Yeah.
Where I started, becoming really good friends with people of other cultures. And it sort of opened my eyes for sure, rather than that view of, I'll probably end up with a white girl.
Yeah.
But hang on, there's a whole array of
seafood buffet.
Yeah,
I see you.
Yeah, a whole huge array of different people, and why try and limit myself to aiming for that when the right person might be on another part of the spectrum? So yeah,
That's funny. All three of us have gone through a similar experience where we were like, oh yeah, this is from the narrow halls of high school to seeing everyone just seeing the diverse range of people that you see at uni. It's quite crazy.
And your wife, so her name, I don't want to keep calling her your wife.
Oh yeah, so her name's Dinathy, but she goes by Dinny. It's easier.
So Dinny, is she quite cultural?
Yeah,
she kept a lot of her.
Yeah. Very cultural. So
that's good.
When it comes to her Sri Lankan culture, she's retained a lot of it.
Have you absorbed much of it yourself?
I would say so.
Do you let her just you go with whatever she tells you to do?
Pretty much.
I've seen it.
Yeah. I even said to Sam before this, I better ask the person who cracks the whip.
I mean, we're all a victim of our circumstances.
Yeah.
I've seen Ethan go through it watching.
Yeah.
There are obviously some compromises that you make. Mostly, I'm guessing a lot of it's you. Dinny's pretty understanding of Dinny. I'm sure it's all Dinny, actually.
I'll tell her that.
No. It's all... Please. No. I want to go to the UK. Don't do it. But how
I'll just tell her not to make you food. I feel like that would upset you more.
It's even worse.
I think we wrap this up here, boys.
Your grave's already started to be dug.
Yeah,
just carry on.
Sorry, Dinny. How do you deal with the cultural differences? Is it
because you're now in the same predicament that your mum was in?
Yeah.
You got the two sides. What do we press? What do we not?
Yeah, I feel like it's a little different for me because all of her family can speak English, so I can actually converse with them and have conversations with them, whereas potentially for my mum, it would have been different because she couldn't, other than dad, she probably couldn't really communicate with
it's massive.
any of his family. So that probably helps a massive amount. In terms of
the compromise, what about on the compromise side?
Yeah, look, we've had conversations about, because my wife's from a Buddhist background, so they're, a lot of the Sinhalese people in Sri Lanka are Buddhist. Whether we raise Arvian, who's my son's name, with that sort of thinking, or, I was sort of raised not really with any, I guess, religion, but going to like a Catholic school and then a Christian school after that. So I understand that a lot more than the Buddhist culture. So we've definitely have had conversations about how we do that or how we compromise that, which I'm all open for. If say Arvian grows up and he wants to explore, say, the Buddhist side of things or a Christian side or neither, I'm all for either. I just want to be open and supportive, really.
Yeah. Yeah, so my wife Alex, she's Buddhist as well. Her family I think Tibetan Buddhist.
Yeah.
So we're kind of in that same phase too, where because to be fair, I mean, the religion to me isn't as important as what all the principles you get
that's right.
from practicing it.
Principles are a major part of it. And a lot of them generally have, similar principles, right? Don't hurt
don't
others.
Kill other people.
Yeah.
But,
Be
treat
nice
others
to
as you want to be treated, all those things, which is a moral compass more than, I think, a religious perspective. Yeah, so we're kind of in that boat now, probably leaning more towards, so I'm from a Catholic family, probably leaning towards that, just from a school perspective. You get them baptized. My parents are going to hate this. It's not true though, Mom. The priest asks you, so you're not doing this just to get them into schools? Like, oh no. It's not the only reason, but it's a fortuitous byproduct.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm probably kind of like that with you. Is if you have the right moral compass, you have the right ideals. What religion you actually practice is probably less important to me.
Yeah, yeah. No, I agree with that.
Yeah,
Definitely. Side story, actually.
sure.
Because I went to a Christian school. I remember so you have to do an interview with the principal. And, he's very Christian, but he has a
The
hard...
tries know about this.
He probably does. But the principal had like a hard stance on, no Harry Potter because it's, all about magic and stuff.
Witchcraft.
Yeah, witchcraft. And he asked me, what music do you listen to? And, probably the correct answer is bloody jazz or something.
Yeah.
To play an instrument. But I said Shaggy. and here's my mum sitting next to me like, what the hell's he saying?
Angel, no, it wasn't me.
Yeah.
Shaggy Angel.
It wasn't me.
Yeah.
So, yeah. It was a funny experience. But I still got into that school, so...
Yeah,
I guess that was a line. It was just...
It wasn't Stephen all this time.
It wasn't Stephen.
So I guess you then growing up, are you planning on sending your son to a religious school, or doesn't really matter?
I don't think we've really gotten that far yet in the discussions. But for example, so Dinny's sister and her husband send their kids to like a Sunday school, so they go to the temple and they learn, I guess, more about the Sri Lankan culture, even learning.
Oh, that's cool.
Even learning about language classes and whatnot, because I can understand people these days. It's hard to teach your kids if you're living in Australia. Your cultural language.
Yep.
So they go to Sunday school. So I think we're thinking about that as well potentially. So, and I think it's important for him to understand his roots when he grows up. So, yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of different routes to.
Yeah, it's going to be hard.
To honour.
I think he's going to have a harder time than I ever did.
It's going to be
trying to understand himself.
Well, in a few years, like what's
not.
the
I don't know.
Not. I think everyone's kind of mixed in some way as it is now. But yeah, he's got a few cultural, I suppose, crossroads.
Yeah, some hurdles.
Yeah.
So I get, that actually segues perfectly. Again, Jamie, you're on point today. But one of the questions we had was when Jamie's in his when Avi's in his teens and he's going, if he's feeling confused or you sense that confusion of identity, like based on what you've gone through, what are you going to share with him?
I think, I want him to feel at home and that he can talk to me about anything. And I know the Sri Lankan culture, they're very reserved and they don't want to tell their parents a lot of things a lot of the time. So I want to be the complete opposite of that. Almost want to be super open, honest, and if he is, say, struggling with identity, I guess reassure him that, I went through, this is going a decade into the future, but potentially very similar things. And hopefully I can tell him that, he doesn't need to find himself straight away, right? There's time to do that. There's time to explore, time to try different things. And there's no rush to do that. He can always take the time and really try and understand himself. I guess that's sort of the message I'd convey to him. And that I'm, both myself and Dinny are always there if he wants to talk.
That's very sweet.
That's great, man.
If he says, Dad, you're a clown, what do you mean by you need to find yourself? How are you going to explain that to him?
Good question.
Because that's something we hear all the time.
Yeah.
Go traveling, go find yourself, go explore.
Yeah.
Do what makes you happy, but
how do you know
most
what
people
makes you
don't know
happy?
what makes them happy.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. I guess there'll be a point in life where you sort of become potentially content with who you are. And I guess it's, you want to be content, but you also want to challenge yourself. So I guess it's finding that balance between the two, is, I guess, my way of explaining that find yourself sort of phrase that everyone uses. So, you know, if you try new things and it challenges you, but you sort of feel, you know, like you're in a place that you're becoming content with that, and it's a good experience for you. I think, you know, you can only ever try, and I feel like we're all always learning and trying, you know, continually understanding ourselves as well. So I guess it won't become a point and you're forever happy. It's just, you know, continually trying to get there, I guess.
Yeah, I really like that, because to be fair, a lot of us still haven't found ourselves, quote unquote. And the earlier you realize that, is probably the better.
Yeah.
Would you say that you're content right now?
Pretty content at the moment.
How'd you get there? What well, I guess not how did you get there, but what were the key events or key things in your life you attribute to you being content?
I guess having a supportive family always helped me. I know that, you know, not everyone has that luxury.
No, not everyone.
So that's always helped me. I guess having the support to try different things and do my own thing is a massive one. And then, you know, finding Dinny, marrying her. This is all scripted, by the way. No. And I feel like I don't think I've ever been happier than when Arvian was born. Like, I don't know, for me, that like really created a sense of, okay, I've got some sort of little blob that's a little, you know, a purpose in life, and I want to try and raise him to be the best he can be. I feel like that was a good moment for me.
Yeah.
It's a good answer.
And that's probably why I'm really content at the moment. Things might change when he becomes a little rascal or something.
I like how you didn't equate any of it to material things when it comes to, it's not about money, it's not about jobs, it's about family support and all those things, that's all that matters at the end of the day.
I probably, it may be a sad thing for others to hear, but I'm not that career driven.
It's not sad at all.
Yeah, I know other people, you know, career, but I, you know, don't want that. I don't think I've ever wanted that to be a defining thing about my life. I'm a very, very much on the bandwagon of, you know, work to live rather than live to work.
Yeah, 100%. I think the sooner people realize that that's more important than everything else, the better.
Yeah. And I do love learning different things as well. So hence why I'm going to be starting a master's soon, which I'm really excited about. So it's generally materialistic things for me. I don't think I've really ever don't like cars. Probably the most materialistic things I like is video games, but I don't get to do that much anymore. What?
What about your sense in food, you snob?
Yeah,
honestly, the bougiest food person.
No.
You and mostly
Dinny has created this. Dinny has created this.
Fine,
I would eat a bland a piece of poached chicken before I met her, but now I wouldn't do that.
I don't think it makes you materialistic if that's what you want.
60-day dry-aged steak.
I've never had 60-day dry-aged steak.
95 at least.
At least 100
YouTube
days.
videos of people squeezing meat and the juice coming out.
That sounds weird, Jamie.
I do enjoy that though.
So I guess last thing before we start wrapping it up. So you're obviously you're a food lover, a foodie, as they call it.
Yeah, as I said, I never used to be.
Yeah.
But then I met Dinny, and we lived in Melbourne, which is amazing for food. And I never used to eat much salmon, and now I eat salmon all the time. But yeah, my wife loves going to fancy, degustations and whatnot, and she still says it's lost on me. She doesn't ever want to go with me because I don't appreciate it as much as what she does. So. Yeah,
there's certainly worse. I don't want to call it a vice, but there's certainly worse habits out there than enjoying some food.
Well, when you come back with a bloody $500 bill for 3 little dishes, then
Like I said, bougie, 3 dishes, 500. Who does that?
Yeah, that's
That should be per person too.
dishes must be made out of platinum or something.
Solid.
But I definitely love of food has definitely grown on me over the past 5.
Did you pick that up on your travels, or were you still kind of? I know you said Dinny was the one who sort of pressed it on you, but
probably not too much, to be honest.
Yeah,
I reckon I just ate whatever I could when I was over there.
So if you did that again, you'd have an absolute ball.
Yeah, I think so.
Now,
I would,
knowing what you know.
Yeah, I would have probably tried to experience more of the food side of things and different cultures.
Yeah.
But yeah, I never really did that when I was traveling. I guess it wasn't really at the forefront of my mind. Just those Instagram pics.
It's all over the Insta.
Yeah.
Back when we were younger, the first time... Actually, I don't know if it was the first... Jamie came over one time and we were eating shin ramen.
Yep.
He couldn't eat it back then.
Too spicy or not good?
Too spicy. Way too spicy.
Yeah, no, it's rough.
But now...
Yeah, you'd put more chilies in there, wouldn't you?
Yep.
Good times.
So because of the Sri Lankan palate, there's quite a lot of spice, isn't it?
Funnily enough, I have a better spice tolerance than most of her family.
Yeah, right.
Actually?
Yeah, for real.
I'm impressed.
For real. But I don't know. It's sort of just... I guess it built over time. I can't really explain it. But yeah, I think you were impressed. We had something spicy not long ago, didn't we? And then I think you were a little impressed. Oh, don't look at Sam.
Oh, the spicy sauce. Yeah, the spicy sauce.
How
spicy sauce. What was this?
It's worse
Your
than
birthday.
Shit.
Oh, yeah.
Those hot sauces.
Yeah.
They were delicious. Some of them.
The hot ones, hot sauces.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What were they?
Scovia level of 1,000.
Yeah.
1,000's not even that bad, is it?
No, I think that's like a mild jalapeno.
Roasted jalapeno.
Yeah.
So being half, is there ever times where you see things, whether it's in the media or personally, and it's making fun of slanty eyes, or like you said before, the kid was calling you, Wong Chong or whatever it was.
Ching
Because
chong,
you're half.
Wing Wong Ching Chong.
Was that it?
I believe that was it. Wasn't it?
Yeah, wing wong ching chong.
Ding
dong. Don't forget the ding dong.
The doorbell. How did I forget?
Ding dong.
So being half, I've always been interested. Do you take offense to those things?
I wouldn't say I do. Maybe that's me just segmenting the white side, and like I don't really pay attention to it.
Yeah.
I guess I don't think I have slanty eyes, so that if someone is say slanty
joke about
eyes,
it, it's
joke
not true.
about it, it doesn't bother me. I know it bothers a massive amount of people around the world, but in terms of me, from my perspective, I guess I don't have that, probably because I'm half.
Does it bother you, Ethan?
Not really. I mean, I can't really change the size of my eyes unless I have some cosmetic surgery, which I'm not going to pay for. What about you?
No. I honestly.
Well, I guess as well. Sorry to cut you off, but when you get older, you get more. You got your confidence. You build up a barrier, and you realize what you can filter in and out. When you're a kid, though, you don't have that.
Yeah.
Things get to you a lot more.
Yeah, we've spoken about this. Oh crap! But for Jamie, there were some times that I resented being a little bit Asian. Ethan said the same thing.
Yeah, definitely.
But then as you grow older, if there's, because we thought we were part of the minority, but it's become a lot more normalized now.
Yeah.
So it's, I guess, when I hear slurs or something, I just put it down to ignorance. That's literally all it is.
Yeah. No, I think I'd agree with that. Yeah, a lot of it is ignorance for sure, especially when they're kids.
Especially when you're kids.
Especially when they're kids.
With the things that you got, do you feel like there was any residual resentment, or are there any residual effects from what you got when you were younger?
Not really. Yeah, I don't think so. I guess the one thing I can think of, there was definitely a phase. I'm not sure what age I was, but when I was thinking, man, I wish I didn't have the last name Wong.
Yeah.
I definitely thought about that, and then I was probably thinking that, it doesn't matter, when I'm 18 I'll change my name anyway. It's easy.
Is that what you were thinking?
Yeah, no, I definitely thought about that. But you get older and then you're like, it's actually a part of me. I don't want to change it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Love yourself.
Yeah, try to.
Yeah, I know on that. Like, I know you do a lot of self-loving. but
Hand off that banana.
Yeah, he's the big banana. But no, you're right. Like when you're a child, when you're younger, you don't have that maturity. And I will admit, like there's times, like you said, possibly resenting being Asian. I would get offended by things I'd see on TV if they're making fun of a Asian character or whatever it is. You look back now and you kind of just laugh it off. Yeah. But it's amazing to put all that back and then figure out what it actually means. Like I say, it's usually just ignorance or comedy.
Yeah.
So you've got Charlie, you've got Avian.
Yeah.
When they're growing up, if they go through that, or if you could go back and tell yourselves, what are you boys telling the boys?
As in, say if they have a similar
if
situation
they go
where
through
I don't like my name. Because I know, Arvian especially has
it's going to be hectic.
Strange name, and it's not going to be like anyone else's. That's for sure.
And then he's Wong.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm surprised you didn't go for the hyphen. just to screw with him a bit more.
Arvian with Wong Ding Dong.
No, I was going to say like more his wife's, more Jenny's name, but yeah.
But I feel like he is going to struggle. I probably will build up over the next 5 years of what I will actually say. But at the moment, I think, it'd be something along the lines of, we named you because, we wanted, I guess, a part of both cultures in you and in your name. So that's why you're named this way. Obviously, if he gets old enough and he still hates his name, he has that opportunity. Whether we'd like that or not, don't know.
Another story.
But yeah, I feel like hopefully it'll be a similar thing to my experience where he grows into it and starts to understand and love it.
If he's anything like you and Denny, he's gonna, before he's mature and you have this talk with him, he's gonna be like, Dad, I've thought about this. I've got some counselling for you. Then talk you through everything.
Yeah, I think that support's going to be so key. Like I'm sure it's going to happen at some point.
Oh yeah.
It's just a unique name. There's no getting around it, and obviously the backgrounds are blended. So
even the sister-in-law came back one day and said, "Oh, her son has come back and said, oh, why am I called this?"
Yeah, it's already happened.
Yeah, it's already happened. He's 5 or 6 now, but it probably happened when he was 5. So yeah, they catch on real early.
Yeah,
and start to understand, especially when they're around, preschool and then start at primary school, and kids have got all these white names, and then they're like,
anything slightly
different.
Yeah, suddenly
people can't pronounce it properly.
I can't write my name down. It's too long.
So yeah, I mean they're already getting it. I'm not sure what they said at the time, but yeah, I can see it coming.
Yeah,
definitely.
On our end, I mean, good or bad thing, I think kids are just going to be surrounded by Asians, just given what the demographics are at the moment.
Yeah.
So it's probably going to be less of a fact. I mean, I grew up in Cape Town, then I moved to Mackay, North Queensland, surrounded by 0 Asians.
Yeah.
Whereas now, you speak to people like my wife, she's only grown up around Asians, like her schools and all that. Yeah. So we'll be a majority.
Can I ask what's the strangest Asian person and accent combination that you've ever met? Obviously, we're
I
surrounded
met
by
a German
Asian.
German Vietnamese lady.
Yeah.
So it was just broken because the Vietnamese accent's quite strong when you speak English.
Yeah.
And this lady was so she grew up in Germany. She was Viet.
Wow.
I struggled.
That's hectic.
It was tough.
That is hectic.
I once met a bloke while traveling. I think it was in Taiwan actually, and Asian bloke had a thick Scottish accent, and that was to me so strange to hear.
That's funny. Yeah.
Super strange.
It's like that chick in Brisbane.
Scotland.
That chick in Brisbane who woke up with a. Well, it was an Irish accent, wasn't it?
I think there's some European.
It was an Irish or a Scottish accent, and it was a brain. I don't want to say deficiency, but it was a brain issue, and she could only speak with an Irish accent.
Yeah. Okay.
Suss it out. It's really funny. I think she went to school with Anthony, and she went to McGregor. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, actuals.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll post a
She's
link
a
of what
TikTok
it's called.
sensation now, but
Oh yeah.
yeah,
Cool.
so random.
All right.
Yeah.
Last thing before you wrap up, Jamie. Ethan's
I love you too. What?
I love you. We'll wrap up with this segment called Rapid Fire.
Okay.
Just 8 questions, 8 lucky questions. You've got to answer them correctly or you die.
Oh,
There's right and
is it
wrong
like
answers.
a one word answer or?
No, it's just first thing that comes to your head. There's no right or wrong.
Okay.
So I can go. So you texting or calling?
Calling.
Summer or winter?
I'm winter at the moment. I know you hate it, Sam. I know you hate it.
It's right or wrong answers.
I
You did
love
say
the
that.
cold. I love the cold.
Favorite city?
Ooh, I'm gonna say Budapest.
There it is.
Yep.
I legit thought that was going to be Vietnam somewhere.
Vietnam as a whole. Budapest as a city. Awesome.
Japanese or Korean food?
Ooh,
It's tough, man.
Don't make me choose. Do I have to choose?
Got to choose.
Far out.
Just first one that comes to your head.
I'm gonna say Japanese.
Better off the two. Friends or How I Met Your Mother?
How I Met Your Mother. I never got into
Mummy,
Friends.
yeah.
Never got into Friends.
Yeah, we're How I Met Your
Which
Mother's
is-
here.
yeah.
At least you get something right.
Sunrise or sunsets?
Sunset, because sunrise is always disappointing for me.
You gotta wake up
Unless
bloody
there's
early.
lots of clouds. If there's clouds, it's beautiful.
yeah.
But same with sunset.
Yeah.
Reality shows or documentaries?
Documentary, for sure.
And the last one, you can give us a bit of context. If you could pause time or rewind time?
Ooh. I'd pause. It'd be almost like the hyperbolic time chamber in Dragon Ball Z. So it's not quite paused, but like extend your time a lot. You can learn new skills, everything.
See what?
That's probably the wisest answer we've heard today.
Really? Like,
Yeah.
I'm just thinking, learning different things. You go, oh, shit, I've got an exam next week. Jump in the hyperbolic time chamber.
But if you could
Study.
if you could rewind time, wouldn't you just study in the first place?
Yeah, but then you still got to put in the work over the same amount of time, or like
And then you
a
got the
time
butterfly
period, right?
effect. He may, if you rewind too far, he may not have met his wife. He may not,
Yeah,
There's all those
that's a
things.
good point. Yeah.
So I read about this in between episodes, the psychology behind the question. So what it is it's really a snapshot of the person answering where they're at with their life.
yeah.
So on average, if you're saying you rewind time, you regret something and you want to have your time over.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Obviously, pausing time, you're content with where your life is,
Yeah,
and you
okay.
kind of want to extend it out
Yeah.
and experience more things with what you have right now.
Yeah.
So-
That's a good way of putting it.
Yeah.
What's your answer?
Well, now I want to change it.
Oh, okay. So you're a
We did
rewind
this
time
right. You said
person.
rewind, didn't you?
Yeah, I said rewind.
What do you say, Ethan?
I said pause
Okay.
because I'm probably similar to you, man. I'm happy with most aspects of my life,
Yeah.
and if I could just extend this out for a bit longer,
Yeah.
kids. Hopefully, I want them to grow up and everything. But
Yeah.
I'm loving it as it is now.
I love the idea, hyperbolic time chamber. Love that idea.
How long are you spending powering up?
How long have I spent?
How long will you spend time just powering up?
Oh, I reckon it's a few decades.
The hyperbolic
I'm
time
not gonna
chamber with 100 times Earth gravity at all times.
But even in the Matrix, right? Where they can download new skills.
Oh, yeah.
Was it Trinity or someone that didn't know how to ride a motorbike? Yeah. Oh yeah, plug it in, learn a new skill. I love that. I love that idea of just
With the Neuralink, I think it's not going to be too far off.
Yeah, hopefully. I'll be hooked up to
won't
that
have
every
to-
day. No.
I think
Communicate with that speech.
I think most of the time for me, if I were to rewind time, it'd just be for small segments like missed opportunities. When you pause time, you wouldn't be able to retake those opportunities. I think that's what it is. It wouldn't be like years of my life.
Yeah.
It'd be not maybe days, maybe even just hours or a couple of minutes at a time, just to redo things the way that I wish.
You know, there's a good movie. What's it? It's called About Time. Have you guys seen
Yeah,
it?
yeah. I love that movie.
It's a great movie.
I've seen
I
it
mean, I
a
love
few
Rachel
times.
McAdams, so.
What's
But,
not to love?
Yeah, like the premise of that is you rewind or you go back in time to a point, but then so you've gone through the same day, you rewind back time, but then you go through the same event without all the stress.
Yeah,
I love
You
it.
should
That'd
definitely
be
watch
cool.
it.
Yeah,
It's
it's
a
a
great
good
movie.
movie.
It's because
Okay, I'll look
basically
I'll look up Rachel McAdams.
the guy has the ability to time travel
Yeah.
back anywhere. He could go to when he was a kid if he wanted to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And his
That's
dad, it's a power that the guys in the family have.
Yeah.
And then anyway, he goes back. He does all these things. He tries to get women, tries to whatever fix his career. But then at the end, when he's older and he's got the perspective, he realizes that the actual beauty of going back is to relive the same day, but without worrying about the stresses of life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good movie.
Yeah. So yeah, it had a big impact on me. Honestly.
Yeah. Check it out.
That's it, man. Other than you, so what's next? Are you doing the masters?
So
any travel or anything?
No. Oh, actually, we do have a couple trips planned. So we've got a wedding in Bali coming up, which is never been to Bali, so that's cool.
Didn't you go snorkeling? I thought you got your scuba diving license in Bali.
Nah, that was Thailand.
Thailand.
Yeah, Koh Tao.
Good place.
Yeah,
So
awesome
it was
place.
legendary.
Yeah, just
I believe you have a profile picture somewhere that's of you scuba diving.
yes. I was holding on to an anchor of a boat.
This was on the Gold Coast.
Oh, he was actually lifting the anchor up so they could take
I'm
off.
tugging the boat along.
Yeah.
Yeah, so a bit of study, a bit of travel.
Yeah.
Obviously, full-time dad is always a job in itself.
Yep.
Full-time husband is even twice a job in itself.
Damn straight, no. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Don't have too many crazy things planned, but yeah, just see what happens.
Cool, man.
Jamie, thank you for joining us. Thank you for your time.
No, it's been my pleasure. Thank you guys for inviting me. Been good chats.
Yeah, thanks, man. No, it really has been, and it's been good to get someone from a slightly different background in terms of being half, and you've been pretty fortunate. I think you've had that support around you, and that's all we can try to do as parents is give that to our kids, and your mom's done a really good job of containing that. So, props to her.
Yeah, Joe's been amazing.
Definitely. My hero.
Awesome. Thanks, man.
Thank you for listening, and we hope you enjoyed today's installment of Growing Up Bananas.
Follow us on socials to stay up to date at Growing Up Bananas. And goodbye.